Hi, everybody. I was just going through my Facebook messages and realized I have missed so many emails, and I am so sorry, but here's the reason why. And I didn't want to put anything up until I knew what happened, but we still don't know what happened. And it's been weeks. And I still have a lot of doctor's appointments to go to. I still have another PET scan. But I was sitting here New Year's Eve on Pearl's birthday, had 1.5 more hours left of work to do, and all of a sudden, I threw up in my mouth, ran to the bathroom, which is right over there. By the time I got to the bathroom, it went all over the walls, it was everywhere, and so I threw up, and then I was like, okay, I feel a little better. I don't know what that was, but I'm going to clean everything up. So I cleaned the walls, got the bleach out, all that good stuff, and then sat down to go back to work because, it's me and I will work through anything. Then all of a sudden I hit send on one email and it started again. I went to the bathroom and it was going for 45 minutes straight. All of a sudden Nona came down and she goes, "Are you okay?" Because she heard me like retching from all the way up on the third floor and came down to check on me because Justin and them were out at the store. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. I can't stop throwing up. And it was so bad that like I couldn't even answer. So finally she said, I said, I got out, call Justin. By the time Justin was on the phone, she got him on the phone right away. But I remember saying, you have to call 911. I don't know what's going on, but this is not right. So the next thing I know, Justin's here, and the ambulance was coming. And I remember like laying on the floor in the bathroom because at this point it was coming out both ends, whether I liked it or not. And him trying to ask me questions. In my brain, I was like answering him, but my mouth wouldn't work. And it was horrifying. So then all of a sudden the EMTs were here and they got me in the ambulance and the girls were standing there watching the whole thing. And that really makes me mad because it scared the shit out of them. And on Pearl's birthday, this was not what I wanted and anybody wanted. And then they were going to take me to a different hospital. And I was like, please don't take me there. Please take me to Christ where my oncologist is. And right when I said oncologist, they're like, no, you're going to Christ. So I was like, thank God, because I wanted I had a feeling it had something to do with the low dose chemo, that I've been on for over a year. And it just wrecks my stomach so bad. It's horrible. I call it lava gut and it's called Verzenio and I hate it, but it is what it is, right? So anyway, they get me up to Christ. By the time I get to Christ, Justin was already there and I couldn't answer them at all. Like I could hear them asking me questions, but I couldn't stop retching and throwing up. And it was coming out both ends that finally we were sitting there for a while waiting for the ER doc because the ER was so full. And I told Justin, I said, I have to get to the bathroom because it's coming out both ends. So he helps me to the bathroom. God bless you, Justin, for this. And as I'm in there, I didn't realize I stood up from the toilet. Well, I had one of those green things. I was throwing up into it at the same time. And I stood up and there was blood everywhere, all over the walls. I looked in the little bag thing I was thrown up in and it was just black and red. And I was like, holy shit. So Justin sees there's blood everywhere. And he goes out in the hallway, grabs a dot. He said he grabbed the first person he found in a white coat. And it ended up being my doctor, or who was supposed to come see me. And so she grabs me. Then they took me instantly to the resuscitation room because this has been 2 hours now. Constant. They thought I had a stroke at first because my blood pressure was stroke level and I usually have low blood pressure. Then they thought I had a heart attack. That was not it. So then they sent me to while I was in the resuscitation room, Justin is fighting with the insurance company because for some reason they thought we had no insurance, even though I've been paying, and I don't know what happened there. We still don't know what's going on. But anyway, I do remember the doctor saying your hands are gray, or your whole skin is gray, and your hands and feet are purple. What happened? And I couldn't answer her. So Justin's trying to give her the best description. But anyway, so they put me into a room because they thought I had E. coli, MRSA. So they did a CT scan. Then they did a bunch of blood cultures. They, of course, admitted me, put me in a ISO room. The kids weren't allowed to come up, none of that stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be here for weeks. Like, what the hell? It took about close to 3 hours for them to get the blood to stop and me throwing up to stop. And that's just, I guess they put a bunch of stuff in my IVs. I don't know. But all of a sudden I woke up and realized, I was like, what the hell happened? It was crazy. And this was hours later. So I pretty much kind of started coming to in the admitted room. But the rest of the time I was in the resuscitation room because they were getting me ready to do a blood transfusion because I had lost so much blood at that point. But luckily, I didn't need that. Luckily, I was okay. But I had no potassium. It was insane. So, and this all started, I was sitting here working and then just started throwing up. We still have no idea what caused this. So because blood cultures came back, they ended up doing an upper GI, lower GI, an emergency colonoscopy. They did so much stuff, they still cannot figure out what it was. They know the blood came from, apparently I have something called diverticulosis, which is something in your colon basically, but everything else, they saw no signs of any more tumors, anything like that, but still can't figure out. And they think that I was throwing up because it was violent. And I tore something in my esophagus, and that's what made the blood come out the front. And the diverticulosis is what made it come out the back. But I still had to stay there for 4 days. And I had to beg them, because they wanted me to stay till Tuesday, which would have been Anna's birthday. So I had to beg them, please don't make me be in here for 2 of my baby's birthdays. I can't. They were scared shitless. They didn't want to go to school. They were horrified because they are. So now constantly they are like, what are you doing? You need to sit down. What are you doing? You need to lay down. And I'm like, I should be apologizing to you because I was in the hospital for your 7th birthday. Ironically, the same place I gave birth to her. But it just scared the shit out of all of us. So now they're thinking maybe I ate or drank something that I'm allergic to that I didn't know, because everything else came back negative. So now I'm going back to the allergist, which I could totally see, because if you guys don't know this, if you're allergic to Cipro, Bactrim, or any sulfa drug, you cannot have, you'll get sick most likely if you eat anything with sulfites in it, which is wine, or now apparently they're putting them in creamers, which sulfites are supposed to be for shelf life preservation or preservatives. Now they're putting it in creamers to make them creamier. So one of the creamers I did have that morning was Harry Potter, which I'd never had before. It was like peppermint frog. And apparently it has this other kind of thing, but it doesn't call it sulfites, but it's the same thing as sulfites. So it doesn't say on it no salt or contain sulfites like it's supposed to, because this other thing works the same as a sulfite. So it will make you sick. So we're thinking that might have been what it was, but I don't know. So anyway, but yeah, just so you know, and I'm also allergic to weird stuff like yeast and beef, alpha-gal, the whole bit. So food things are weird with me. So now basically I can't eat anything that has a preservative in it at all until I can get into this allergist, which is going to take probably a couple months to get everything back and all that. They also want me to do more genealogy testing because they only did the blood or the hormone breast and female cancer panel. And I thought they did the gambit, but apparently they didn't. So they're requesting me do now the gambit because of, our family history with dad and my grandpa and God, so many of the people in my family that have had gut cancers, and that's what they thought it was. And that's what scared the hell out of all of us, but they don't see anything there. Now the PET scan might show more. I don't know. And that's supposed to be, I think, on the January 28th, I think is when I'm going to that. I still have to fully set it up. Supposedly I got a slot for that day, but I still haven't heard from them yet, and I got to figure that out. But anyway, so for everybody and my cousin John, this is why I didn't call you when you were in town, because I was in the hospital. And I didn't want Justin or anybody to put it on Facebook and freak everybody out, because we didn't know what was going on. So, and even though we still don't, but this is why I've been kind of not on Facebook or anything, because it's still been, and my blood numbers are coming back up. My potassium's good, all that stuff. I'm going to the different doctors at least once a week right now. I did just get out to every 3 months. Now I'm back to every month with each doctor. So I'm going to have a doctor's appointment every week. And it's not fun, but you do it, right? But everything keeps coming back normal now. So luckily it's good, but we got to figure out what the heck happened so I can make sure it never happens again. But so right as of now, I can only eat fresh food. So that kind of puts it down to not much, considering I can't have bread. I can't have, but, tortillas are good. Pita's good. Lavash is good. I can have that. But anyway, so everybody, this is all why. And, I hope everybody had a better New Year's than me. But here's to the rest of hopefully all the bad of 2026 just happened and we got good the rest of the way. That's what I'm praying for. So, all right, everybody, stay healthy. Don't forget to get your mammograms. Love ya. Bye.